Hello there, I'm Leo Warder for Kit Guru, and this NAS here is the QNAP TS453 Pro. It's a very close relation to the TS453 Mini I reviewed a few weeks ago. Under the skin, it's got a J1900 Celeron powering it, some DDR3, and but fundamentally the major similarity is it runs QNAP's QTS software. Now cosmetically it's quite different because the Mini has a magnetically retained top cover and the 4 caddies are vertical. This, as you can see, has 4 locking caddies at the front, keys in the accessory pack along with a bunch of screws. Each of the caddies slides out, screw a driver in place, slide it home, job done. So cosmetically you've got this metal cover and front mounted drives rather than black plastic and top mounted drives. Under the skin, essentially the same thing, even to the extent that the base model comes with 2 gig of memory and the upgrade is 8 gig. That time I had the 8 gig, this time I had the 8 gig, even though it costs you basically £100 more than 2 gig. So in this instance we're looking at £380 including VAT without storage, or £490 with 8 gig as this is. Realistically, you're not very likely to pay that huge amount of money for the extra memory after we can get a fairly chunky hard drive for that £110 for a few gig of memory. So that's almost, you can think of it as a reviewer's special. Now the difference in price between the TS453 Pro and the Mini is about 20 quid. They are essentially the same cost. Which is interesting because there is a useful extra feature that you get with this Pro, which is on the back. If I just turn it round, you have 4 Gigabit Ethernet ports, and that's handy because it means you can do either link aggregation or you can do failover, so you can either boost performance or give yourself multiple connections to your switch to cover in the event one connection fails, you're still good to go. Or of course you can connect to multiple networks, give multiple networks access to the NAS. And for the money, that is interesting because it's, why do you have the, albeit very pretty Mini, if you can have the Pro, which is, the Mini is relatively small, but the Pro is no larger, it's just a different shape. I mean, laid down rather than standing up. So multiple Ethernet ports, interesting, almost no extra money, that's good. Now, when QNAP is talking about some of the features in this, it goes on about Virtualization Station and other things like that, which I must confess are of minimal interest to me personally because I don't run Linux and I don't really do virtual machines. But one big change in this review is that QNAP has released QTS 4.2. Now previously we saw 4.1. When I first got this NAS and I fired it up, it was offering me a beta of 4.2. And betas of NAS software are of no interest to me whatsoever. I want NAS software to be just dull, reliable, and to work, you know, just like a tool. I certainly don't want it to be interesting, and flaky is of no interest. Anyway, they then released the final version of 4.2, so I clicked the button, updated, and I actually hit a bit of a snag, which QNAP tells me they haven't had with other people, which was that the update seemed to go very smoothly indeed. Photos on Kit Guru of the download and installation process, essentially click, let it get on with it. When it finished, my pool of drives had vanished, which wasn't much fun at all. So I don't know what happened there. Now, the thing was, I had almost no data on those drives. I essentially had some music and some video files which I move around to see how the system works in terms of speed and usability. And the pool went missing. I had lots of red X's. I spent no time at all attempting, well, I mean, I tried to remount the drives as they instructed me, but it didn't want to work. And as I was going to lose nothing, I just clicked crunch it all away, recreate it, and it was good. The lesson I'm taking away from this is I personally would not have been interested in updating a genuine live, it's got my work on it type of NAS unless it's backed up like Billy to some other system. The idea of clicking yes, update please, no, I wouldn't do that. And this reinforced that. However, as I say, QNAP tells me I'm a unique case, why I got singled out for it, goodness knows. Anyway, there we go. So this is now running a QTS 4.2, which looks, actually, I mean, it's very, very similar to QTS 4.1, but there are certainly significant differences. It's all very Apple-y, Android-y, modern mobile phone type of look, but there are also some handy features in there. I noticed, for instance, the notifications that tell you what's going on, they seem to be much more human than I'm used to seeing, and that's a good thing. The look of it, just for information, this is connected over the HDMI connection directly to this monitor rather than going across the network, but the look and feel of the software is very similar to the interface you have when you come across the network in the usual style. Obviously you don't generally connect directly. Mouse and keyboard dongles in the back of the NAS to the 8 USB ports, HDMI goes connect. Now it so happens that this is a 28-inch 4K display connected over HDMI, and it's running at full HD, and yet the scaling and the display and so on is just bang on, absolutely crystal clear, so much less painful than Windows Server, for example. Absolute triumph. Now the software you're actually seeing here it's almost like a sort of a mimicking of the QTS software. It uses the thing they called HD Station, in this instance V3 rather than V2, which is a Linux shell that gets loaded along with a bunch of other bits and pieces, and then you get QTS coming in on top of it. And it's absolutely pain-free. Essentially, connect it, fire it up, click a yes, let it get on with it, job done. And if you then connect again, you haven't got to click yes, it just kind of gets on and does it all for you. And it works like an absolute dream. Moving around the interface, so we've got the control panel and system settings and all the usual yada yada yada. There's storage manager, which loads up and tells us what's going on. Lots of green little doohickeys. There's the storage, there's the disks. See if we've got a nice picture to show you. And that's going to, yes, there we go. And there's the NAS telling you what the drives are and all the rest of it. So happens there are four 4TB WD RAIDs in this, and with the RAID, it's I think it's, I'm not sure if it's actually RAID 5 or if it's a type of RAID 5, but you've got actually 10 terabytes of RAID array available. A whole bunch of the drive space is reserved for snapshots and such like, so you can roll back in the event you suffer a problem. Which is a bit humorous considering I did suffer a problem but didn't have any snapshots ready to go back to. A bit like Time Machine with Apple and such like. Anywho, there we go. So pretty picture to show you what's going on, and it's all lovely. The only actual snag apart from that, thing of updating from 4.1 to 4.2 was that still, if you wish to upload files and you want to do folders, you need to be using Chrome to do that. QNAP has some sort of tie-in with Chrome. I mean, I'm not saying a financial tie-in, but they are satisfied that Chrome works well with them, and Internet Explorer, Firefox don't give you the same features. Chrome, you can do anything you like. Firefox, Internet Explorer, you can upload individual files, no problem. You want to upload folders, you want to be using Chrome, or, as I discovered another time, zip a bunch of files together, upload those, because of course one zipped archive is a file. And speed is significantly better that way. Speed, as you'd expect, the TS453 Pro, TS453 Mini, they're the same, but then it's running a Celeron, and that's what you'd expect. It's fast, it's download times, upload times, you're in this sort of 80 megabits per second upload. In fact, when I ran a huge zipped archive, I was running at 238. That's downloading. Uploading 147 megabits per second. So the speeds are very healthy. Much more healthy than you get with an Atom or with an ARM processor. Not up to Xeon territory, but then this is small medium business as opposed to enterprise. So all that very good news. Interesting to relate is that the power supply inside this NAS is the same power supply we saw in a Power NAS. The interesting thing was with the Power NAS, I complained about the noise of the power supply, and I saw this, I thought, oh, that's not going to be good. In actual fact, it's very quiet, and it's interesting to relate that the airflow goes in, it's drawing it in from the outside, so it's actually presumably expelling warm air inside the NAS chassis. But the temperatures it's spitting out here, it's telling you what they are on the status panel, are negligible. And it makes it very quiet, whereas the Power NAS was expelling air in the way you'd actually expect, draw air through, kick it out when it's got heated up, and that was noisy. It's a tiny little fan, yay diameter, and pulling it through and losing it inside the casing makes it as quiet as a mouse. Very good indeed. So, new features in QTS 4.2 Virtualization Station introduces a container station with LXC and Docker, so you can run multiple instances of Linux on your NAS. All very nice if that's the sort of thing you do. I don't run multiple instances of Linux on my NAS. I don't run a single instance of Linux on my NAS, if I'm entirely frank with you. But overall, the TS453 Pro is essentially the same money as TS453 Mini. You get the extra Ethernet ports on the back and lockable caddies are all well and good. I mean, the security is not great, is it? But I would say for the extra £20 you pay for those multiple Ethernet connections, the options that gives you, particularly link aggregation, I would say well worth the money. So the update to QTS 4.2, I would back up my data before I did that update, but the new software I like a great deal. The combination of QTS 4.2, TS453 Pro, that's a good one, like it a lot. So this is Leo Ward for Kit Guru. This is the QNAP TS453 Pro.